All right. We are live. As people get in here, we will say hello. I'm here with the one and only Bookborn. I'm so excited to talk to you. I've been a fan of your channel for so long. So first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me.
Thank you for inviting me. It's kind words.
Yeah. Your channel it's so impressive to me because like you put effort into your videos, right?
I think everyone puts effort into their videos.
I mean, I've gone down the Mike's book reviews, the talking story, that branch of booktube where it's like, this is what I read this week and it was cool. And, it's really just off the rip, one take, whatever. Um, and like I'm so especially your like video essay kind of stuff. I'm just like, man, this is just it's awesome. And it's just yeah, I don't know, it impresses me. So I respect you for putting the time in for that.
Thank you. I think there's like a lot of benefit to that reaction type of books. Like I think people really connect to the emotion of it. I'm just not
Mm.
very good at it. So like I'm actually better at just kind of like thinking the stuff out,
Sure.
which is kind of funny.
Yeah, it's I actually I think it was your most recent one kind of talking about like the whole idea that people are trying to play the game by the
Mm.
content that they're making and sort of is there a personal gain kind of thing going on. That one actually it spoke to me a little bit more personally because I actually had my first experience with this when Wind and Truth was coming out, and I had somebody be like, "Hey man, like, are you just? I can't trust what anybody's saying because they're just trying to get Sanderson to notice them or whatever."
Mm.
And I'm like, like, do you see how many subscribers I have, dude? Like, do you think he cares? Like, it doesn't. Um, but yeah, I appreciated that. I thought that was like a lot of the stuff that you do, right? Very well said, and I think it was good timing also with everything that's been happening.
Yeah, I mean, that was what inspired me. I think like a lot of, I think no matter what you said about Wind and Tooth, people weren't happy.
Uh-huh.
Um, which I just think is like a very funny phenomenon that happened with that book.
Yeah.
And you just gotta like, okay, the internet's gonna internet.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Kyle's here. What's up? Late. That's funny.
He's late. You
Ryan,
were on
number
time.
one. Yeah. Ryan, number two. What's up, guys? Safina's here. Mr. Roro is here. Didn't like Wind and Truth. Matt's here. So I'm like you. I liked it more than most people, I think, right? Um, I see the complaints. I get it.
I
Right. I
mean,
get it.
complaints. I just
Yeah, for sure. I do too.
still.
Um, I don't know. I have such a hard time with people that seem like they can't find anything positive from it. Like,
I mean, I
really?
don't mind that. What I do mind is people telling me how I should think. So,
True.
someone saying, I didn't like it, it didn't work for me. Like, cool, I get it.
Yeah.
I dislike books that everyone loves all the time. Um, but it's when you start saying things like you're untrustworthy,
Sure.
you, yeah, it's the accusations. Like, if you don't reflect my opinion on it, then that's bad.
Yeah.
That's where I think we get dicey.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And I think
sure.
with Wind and Truth, there was just so much expectation on it. It
Yeah.
wasn't going to please everybody. There's just no way.
Yeah. Yeah. I've gone like in hindsight, sometimes I sit there and I wonder, like, did I just want to like it so bad that it kind of
Mm,
colored my opinion in a positive way? And maybe
maybe
when I,
I'm curious about a reread. I feel like that will
it's
shake out
exactly
for
what I
us
was
in
going
a
to say.
reread. You know?
Yep. I actually can't wait I'm especially excited to reread it because like there's got to be stuff in book one that like breadcrumbs that I missed that
Mm,
first read through, right? Because I've only read the series once. I've only read all the Cosmere stuff. I've only read it once.
mm.
So it's someday I will have my full grand Cosmere reread. Um, not for a while though.
Yeah, I've reread the first Stormlight books a few times, but I do want to reread it all together
Yeah.
to see if that influences either way my opinion of Wind and Truth. Like maybe I will once I read them all back to back. Like my Wind and Truth review will go down, or I'll stick with it.
Hmm.
And I don't think either of those are bad either. I think a
Right.
gut reaction is still a truthful reaction.
Yeah.
But sometimes those change over time. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Agreed. Agreed. It is okay. It's one Stormlight's up there in some of your favorite series, right? It's kind of up
I
pretty
usually
high on
say
your list.
Stormlight's my favorite series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
usually it's at number one.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious to reread it the first half.
Yeah. It was up until this year I would have said it was my number one. I think I've had a
What overtook it?
couple. Malazan and Sun Eater have both overtaken
Okay.
it at this point.
Okay.
Which I want to see what's up with Sun Eater for you because I know you read book one,
Yeah.
and I'm like, are we getting to book two at some point?
I
I
don't know.
want to
Everyone wants me
hear.
to read book 2. I'm not super motivated, but, there's
I
a
get
lot
it.
of you who keep bothering me about it.
Yeah,
I'll get to it eventually. I just doesn't like, I'm just not in the mood. There's other big books I wanna read first,
fair,
but I think
fair.
I'll eventually get to it.
Yeah.
I've only read the first 3 Malazan books.
Hmm.
Um, I like them. I don't think it's ever gonna be, like, one of my top series,
Sure.
but
That's fair. Yeah, I
good.
get that. Yeah.
I think if anything's gonna unseat Stormlight, it's, A Song of Ice and Fire.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, I wanted to talk I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to talk to you about that at some point anyway. Yeah, Kyle's calling out Howling Dark. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, he sent me it because he wants me to read it.
Kyle, I like you, bro. Hang out here longer. Um, okay, Song of Ice and Fire. So I've read the books, right? But
Mhm.
this was actually the first adult series that I read. It
Oh,
was
okay.
forever ago. Man, when was this? This was probably like 2012 or something,
Mm.
2013. Um, and I fell in love. I was in deep. I was theorizing and all this stuff. But it's been long enough now that I remember the story really well, but I think it's just not like top of mind. So like when I watch your videos, I'm just like, damn, I really need to go back and reread this at some point. So will you please evangelize the Song of Ice and Fire, especially Fire and Blood, because I haven't read this yet, and I know you love it, right? So I
I
want to I want to get
did.
into it.
Fire
Yeah.
and Blood is so good.
Okay.
I think, like, I might rate Fire and Blood like, over Dance with Dragons. Um, it was that good, and I
Yeah.
liked Dance with Dragons, so,
Yeah.
uh, uh, how to evangelize it? Just, like, his writing and
Yeah.
how much character work he gets done, like, Fire and Blood covers so much history, and you're with these characters for a very small amount of time, and yet still, I'm just, like, so into it. His character work is
Mm.
peak, and, yeah, I don't know, man, it's good. I mean, have you read Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
I've not. I've only read the five. I've read the five main
Oh,
books, and then
what are
the
you
is it the
doing?
World? There's other.
Oh,
I'm reading Malazan and I'm reading
Empire?
Sun Eater and all this stuff, dude. Yeah,
No, you gotta go read Night of the Seven
I do.
Kingdoms, man, some Duncan Egg. That's so good. It's
You
like,
know,
oh,
I didn't know who Egg was. Recently heard who it is, and that makes me much more excited to read it.
why do you
Um,
need to know who it is to be excited to read it? You just
I
gotta
don't
know,
know.
you gotta trust George R. R. Martin. It
That's
doesn't
true.
matter. It
That's
doesn't
true.
matter who any of it is. It's
Yeah,
just
you're right.
good.
You're right. You're right. I do really. I have Fire and Blood on my shelf. I do really need to get to the rest of those. It's been so long. I want to
I
reread
read
it
Fire
anyway.
and Blood pretty quick. I know people say
Did
it's,
you?
like, long, but, like, I got through it faster than Dance with the Dragons, I'm
Mm,
pretty sure.
okay.
Yeah.
I was so scared because like Silmarillion was painful to get through for me.
Oh, no, no, they're
And
nothing like they're no,
okay,
nope, they're nothing like, the
good.
Silmarillion is brilliant in its own ways, but at sometimes it's so hard to read. Like, there's
Yeah.
that chapter on geography, and I was just like, "Tolkien, you've lost me." Like, it took me, like, I swear,
Yeah.
2 weeks just to make it through that chapter. And then
Oof.
there's, like, a
Yeah.
ton of great stuff too. But, no, 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 Fire and Blood is much more narratively focused in my opinion. Like, it's
Okay.
just the way he's able to do it, like, I was just like, I couldn't put it down. Like, I'd be reading late at night
Mm,
and just, like, wanting to know what happened.
cool.
So it's definitely much easier
Yeah.
to read in
Sounds a
my
lot
opinion.
different. Sounds a
Yeah.
lot. The I think my biggest thing with Silmarillion was like what you said, like geography stuff. There's so much time on that, or like the family tree, and then we have one sentence about the Balrog War or whatever, and I'm like, can we have
Yeah.
more of this, please? Like that sounds cool.
I mean, in
So,
fairness, there's a lot of family trees in Fire and Blood, and all the names are just as similar sounding as the
mm,
Silmarillion. But that being said, it doesn't feel like the Silmarillion to me. They felt like very
that's
different
good.
books.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
That's encouraging. I do need to go. I know I do need to go back through it, and I think the it's been enough time since the show. When the show ended, I wasn't one of these people that just like trashed everything. Like,
Mm,
I still like the show overall. The ending wasn't ideal, obviously, but like whatever. But it was the ending to me was kind of fun because it made me think through how, like, what's a different ending that would have been better. So that
mm,
was really fun to think through. So now I think as I go back and reread it at some point, like knowing where the show took it, where my head kind of went, like, oh, maybe this would make sense. and now to go back through and actually figure out if my ideas make any sense at all. I
Mm,
think that'll be fun. And just to revisit his his writing, I think that I don't know. Okay, tell me, is this just me? The more I read, the more I'm drawn to like the prose style itself. Like I'm finding myself
mm,
looking for more and more depth in the stories. And I remember his writing style being great, but like I had nothing to compare. I had the only thing I could compare it to at the time was like Harry Potter, right?
mm.
So it's going to be really interesting for me to now go back and read it again and see like does it hold up like everybody says it does, right? Because in my head I say that it does, but I don't really remember for myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will, especially his dialogue.
Mm,
Um, I mean, I think it's pretty gold standard, in a lot of ways. I
mhm.
wouldn't say, like, prose is number 1 for me necessarily. I think I need more, like, depth of character,
For sure.
is my most important thing, but, I mean, no denying that George is just, like, everything he writes is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I
The
think
beautiful go
the
ahead.
way he writes things is why I think it would be very difficult for someone else to finish his works because it's not really about
Mm.
the plot in his books, it's the way we get there, I think.
Yes, that's very well said. I kinda hope, like, if he doesn't finish it, I don't want anyone else to finish it. Like,
Absolutely not.
I'm really grateful we had the end of the Wheel of Time. Like, I think Sanderson did a great job, but, like, this one feels it feels different. Maybe it's just because I didn't grow up reading the Wheel of Time as it was coming out or something, or,
I think
I
The Wheel of
wasn't
Time is
caught
a
up in the
very different
fandom.
series, and I say that as, like, a huge Wheel
Sure.
of Time fan.
Mhm.
I think Wheel of Time was a story that was easier to be finished, by someone else. Not that Jordan wasn't a good
Yeah.
writer, he was. He was a good writer, but his story depended a lot more on what was happening. And I think George's story is more about his writing style
Yeah.
as is the success of it. But also Robert Jordan wanted his story to be finished and Martin doesn't. And that's a huge difference as well. If
That's
if
true.
Martin's out here being like, if I die, I want someone to finish my story, I would be supportive because
Sure.
that's what he wanted. And Robert Jordan wanted someone to finish his story. So I just think
Yeah.
they're apples and oranges in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do need to point this out, and I wanna know, Brian, why do I only have 1
Hi,
title?
Brian. I know, you gave me so many titles.
I want
I
more
I
titles.
like them all though.
That's a great comment, though, I love that. Speaking of, the the way that we get there being the most important, or at least one of the most important things, and the depth of character and the how they write something, um, I'm far from the first person to bring this to the table, but, like, have you come to worship at the altar of Janny Words yet? Because I feel like you would really dig it.
I haven't yet, but,
Good.
it's I'm sure I'm gonna get there eventually.
You're gonna, "Oh, look at this. Lo and behold." Uh,
Look at that!
Hi, Janny, thanks for stopping by. I'm trying to sell your books right now to Bookborn, so we'll
A
see what
lot
we
of
can do.
people a
Yeah,
lot of people
I
are
really
sold.
do. Yeah, I think if especially, if those are the things that you appreciate and are looking for, I think you'll be happy. Yeah,
Yeah. My husband's always
cool,
selling her books to me,
good.
so
He's smart. He knows what he's doing. Um, one of these titles is also another thing I wanna bring up. Um, Defender of Donut. This is your latest obsession, right?
it is my latest obsession. I'm good at collecting
I
them.
Yeah. I have struggled to get into this, I will admit.
Did
Um,
you read all of book 1?
I'm, 2/3 of the way through, something like that, on
Okay,
audio.
okay.
Um,
I think you need to give it through book 2 to decide.
yeah.
Because after book 1, I wasn't sold. I read book
Mhm.
1, I said I was entertained, I'm not sold, and I spent a lot of time to not read book 2. And it wasn't until I was, like, in a slump and I was like, "Whatever, I'll listen to book 2," and then I read 2, 3, 4, and 5 very close together.
Yeah.
So, that's my recommendation. Give it 2.
It's tough. It's so tough because I
They're
wanna know.
short. They're short.
They're pretty short.
Like, you
That's
on
true.
audio, they're pretty short. Like, it's not like giving it 2 is asking you to give, 2 Wheel of Times that are 1,000 pages.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
They're
Um,
small.
it's so I know in your video you mentioned, like, you're not a huge audiobook person, but you love this audiobook, right? Is that still
Mhm.
how you would recommend doing it? As opposed to, because 'cause I'm not a big audio person either.
No, I mean, I think either is fine. I don't think you will not enjoy it if someone, like, reads it, but I do think, s Jeff Hayes's, like, AI voice and the way he does Donut just, like, brings the characters to life a lot, so it is, like
Mm,
I recommend people to at least try it.
yeah.
Although I is there, like, a graphic audio version of it or something? Because people are talking about sound effects, and I definitely do not listen to one with, like, sound effects. I just
Okay.
listen to one with voices. So I'm not a graphic audio person. So if there's a graphic audio, that wouldn't be for me. But I do love Jeff
Yeah.
Hayes' voices. But
Graphic?
my husband, I
Yeah.
mean, my husband read only in physical,
Mhm.
and he was obsessed with the series too. So I don't think that's the
Okay.
wrong way to do it. I still think it comes through.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, Brian's saying that Mike's doing the physical version and liking it a
Hmm.
lot. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I feel left out is the thing, right? I
Mm.
feel FOMO is difficult for me,
FOMO is
but
clearly not difficult for me since I read A Game of Thrones in our year of 2023.
it's true.
I don't care. I'm, like, so immune to hype.
Mm,
Never watched Tiger King. Like, there's just all this stuff I've never seen. Like, I never watched a single episode of Game of Thrones. Like, I have no
really?
problem. Oh, not a single
Oh
episode.
wow. You still not even after you've read the books?
Nope.
Are you going to?
Nope.
Good for you. That's cool.
No, I mean, the reason I didn't even read A Game of Thrones was because of the success of the TV show and all I heard about how violent
Mm,
and sexually graphic it was. And I don't think, even though I love the books, I don't think that's changed for me. I just don't think I would enjoy the show.
mm.
Um, and
Okay.
so, but yeah, no, everyone loves something that's like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
I respect that though. That's a good. I think that's a good way to be, right? You like what you like.
Sometimes I miss out, but I'm
Yeah.
okay with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly there's always plenty of time to come back. I mean, how when did that first
Exactly.
book get published, right? I mean, that was I don't know,
1996.
90s. Yeah.
Let's see if I was right. That was like such a random
Yeah.
guess, but I want to know if I was right.
Sounds like
Game
a
of
reasonable guess.
Thrones book release date. Let's see. I want to nail it. Of course, now my internet is being so slow.
That's how it goes.
1996. I did nail it.
Wow, good for you.
Oh man.
Nicely done.
Okay. Yeah.
Nicely done.
So I
That's
only read
cool.
it like 30 years after release date. It's
Yeah,
fine.
hey, that's okay. That's the Wars Light and Shadow stuff is I'm just now getting it's like 30 literally the first book came out the year I was born, which is pretty cool.
No, that's fun.
Yeah. Well, okay, Jeremy sent DC's okay. I'll try to tough out through the rest of book 1 and we'll see. It's I had like a 3-hour road trip a couple weeks ago, so I was like listening to a bunch of like I had to turn it off and listen to something else because I was
Mm.
just like I don't know. It's not that it's I wasn't bored. I was just having a hard time. Maybe it's just that it's audio and I was having a hard time focusing on it or something.
Yeah, you might want to just try going back to
Yeah.
the physical versions of it. But like I can't listen to audio when I'm driving. So that would also be hard for me. Like I
When
zone
so
out.
this is what I don't understand how people do this, right? Because like I can't multitask. I can't like work and have an audiobook. I can't do
Nope.
that. So
No, I don't the only I can listen to audiobooks in one circumstance and one circumstance only,
okay.
which is my nightly chores. So when
Mm,
I'm loading and unloading the dishwasher, cleaning down all the counters, putting dinner away, maybe tidying up my family room or folding laundry, like that is the only situation in which I can listen to an audiobook.
that makes
Which
sense.
means, I mean, well, I don't listen to very many, and it just takes me forever to get through an audiobook because
Sure.
that's like maybe an hour a day and I
Hmm.
only listen at 1.5 speed. That's the
Yeah.
max speed I go.
Yeah.
So,
It feels weird to go faster. Like it seems like it would distort. Like obviously it distorts the voice, but it feels like it would affect how you take the story in. I don't know.
yeah, I'm with you, but a lot of people are like those 3 speeders and good for them.
Wow.
It's not me.
Yeah, I don't get it. That's cool though. I mean that makes sense. I hear people talk about like they listen to it when they're at the gym or when I'm like, how, dude? This is
No.
I don't understand.
I have to listen to music of a very specific tempo when I'm working out. I can't
Mm,
listen to a book. I don't
yeah.
know. I just like even when I'm doing tasks, like sometimes I'll try to listen like when I'm making thumbnails or something,
Hmm.
but if I have to do any thinking, I'm not
Yeah.
listening to the book. And
100%.
I don't like missing stuff. And
Yeah.
so it just doesn't work.
That's exactly how one of the, I'm in grad school, right? And one of the guys who's in my program will his brain just works different from other people. Like he taught himself advanced statistics in like
Mm,
2 years. Like he's got like PhD level knowledge in statistics, and he just taught himself. Weird, but he'll be working on like coding to do whatever meta analysis stuff while listening to like a comedy podcast.
mm.
And I'm like, how does your brain do this? This
I
does
mean, that
not make
makes
sense.
sense. It depends because, like, I do listen to my favorite comedy podcast when I do stuff like that.
Hmm.
But in fairness, I've listened to it before. So, like, I think that helps. But also, like, usually in a comedy podcast, it's not like a book where you need all the details. So,
Yeah,
if you
true.
miss parts of like a podcast, usually you can come back in and it's fine to be like
Yeah.
in and out of. So I could see doing that.
Okay,
I
I
also just like
guess.
silence though. I work to silence.
Yeah, I have to. It's either silence or like I don't know, um, purely instrumental. Sometimes I'll do like a whatever random lo-fi new wave
Mm,
whatever something that's kind of fun, but like no words. There can't be any words at all. I can't do
for
it.
sure.
I can't do it. Um, what what comedy podcast do you like? We listen to a bunch
Oh,
in our apartment. So
no, I listen to one, and it is The Adventure Zone, which
okay,
is a comedy
okay.
D&D podcast. I don't know
That's
if you've heard of it.
I have heard of it. I've never listened to it.
I'm currently on like my 6th listen through.
Okay.
It is one of my favorite pieces of media of all time. It's like my comfort podcast. Like last night, I had a terrible night's sleep and I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't fall asleep. Like that's just what I put on to lull myself to sleep.
Okay, cool.
Wherever I am in my current listen through. So that is my number one. I've listened to a couple others, but that's like the only one that I've listened to like religiously.
Mm, mm.
Uh,
That's Did you play
yeah,
D&D then?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's cool.
Me and my husband love playing D&D. We had two groups when we used to live in California, and then COVID hit, and we all moved away.
Mhm.
And we played online for like a year and a half, 2 years after, but we just don't love playing it online.
Sure.
So currently we play with our kids. We have like a little campaign with them, but
How cool is that?
we haven't been playing regularly with a group, which we miss because
Sure.
we bought lots of stuff for it. We have so much dice and like so many props, and it's just like, oh, we miss it.
That's cool. Did you guys DM also, or did you just play?
We both DM'd. Yeah, we both
That's
DM'd.
awesome. You really are the queen of nerds, aren't you? This is cool.
I don't know if I'm the queen of nerds, but I am very nerdy, and I've been nerdy my whole life. So it's kind of funny that a lot of that stuff is becoming very popular
Yeah, it is, right?
now.
Yeah, that was my experience with, I was always like the anime kid, right?
Mm.
Like I literally don't remember seeing it for the first time. It was just always a thing for me. And then now it's cool and mainstream, and I'm like, guys, this is
I
not.
got made fun of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
was
was a little bit into anime and manga as a kid, not like
cool.
super, but I definitely had my pets. Like I was obsessed with Dot Hack Sign
Okay,
and
cool.
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yes, thank you.
Those were my obsessions. Although I always explained to people like I grew up that it was on one time,
Hmm.
and if you missed if you missed it, you missed it.
That's it.
And like I never saw the end of Dot Hack Sign as a kid because it switched times and I never found it again. Like so I
Yeah.
had this obsession, like I bought the manga and I was like, oh,
Uh-huh.
but it doesn't tell me the ending of the show. And I just like didn't know. Like you just I had an obsession with something for a little bit. I also watched Sailor Moon, but who didn't watch Sailor Moon?
Yeah, facts. I actually didn't
Everyone.
watch it growing up. I've been watching it with my
Okay.
girlfriend here and there over the last year or something. We'll binge through like a bit of it, and then we just completely fall off for 6 months. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I did randomly just like I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I was really in the mood for TV and I didn't know what to watch. And I was like, I'm just gonna watch an episode of Sailor Moon. And I was like, Sailor Moon is weird. Um, I wonder if it got so popular because of the aesthetics, because like the Sailor Moon
Mm,
aesthetics are like peak aesthetics.
100%.
But I did watch that like first episode, and I'm like, when I rewatched a little bit of Dot Hack Sign or Yu Yu Hakusho, it just like stood up a little bit better for me. Like I
Mm,
rewatched them and I was like, yeah, this is good. And then I watched
yeah.
the first episode of Sailor Moon and I was like, we've got like middle schooler going to be dating a high schooler. Like I didn't
Uh-huh.
make that connection. I was just like,
Yeah.
it was only episode 1 in fairness, but I was like, this is like not necessarily holding up to
Yeah.
my head as well as the other anime I've rewatched.
Yeah, there's yeah, there's some weird. It's funny how a lot of the most mainstream ones have like some really weird stuff. Like Dragon Ball has some really weird stuff going on with it.
Anime
Like
is weird, and that's okay. Like
this,
even
yeah.
Pokemon, which like I realize is technically an anime, but I feel like people don't necessarily put it in that. Like I
Right.
didn't even count it when I was thinking Pokemon. Like
Mhm.
my kids watched a ton of it. I'm like Pokemon's a little weird, but they're all a little weird.
They are.
It's just always something a little weird.
Yeah.
Like reading One Piece, you're like, yeah, there's weird stuff in One Piece, and
Yeah.
that's fine.
Britain says it's hella sus, which is a
It
pretty good.
is, and that's okay.
I didn't do Card Captor. That was in
Did
that era
you
though. I missed it.
If you liked, Yu Yu Hakusho as a kid, did you like the, live action that recently happened?
Um, you know, I watched the first episode and I was just like, I don't know if I can. Not, I'm not even saying it was bad. I'm just saying I just don't know if I can put myself out there because I love the anime so much that
Yeah,
it's scary.
I don't know, I loved the first episode. It really brought it all back,
Mm,
but I haven't watched the anime in a while, so, like, I was probably the perfect audience where, like, I loved it as a kid,
yeah,
but, like, don't have, like, the pure memories to be upset. But I mean, they
sure.
condensed the plot way too much. Like, by the end, I
Mm,
was like, "I can't even believe, like, how much we condensed." But it was fun. Like, I really enjoyed visually seeing it.
yeah,
Like, it reminded me a lot,
yeah.
of my childhood.
I actually forgot that existed. I meant to go back to it at some point and give it
You
a
should
shot.
make sure you read the subbed, though.
Okay,
Or
yeah,
not read it, but I mean, watch the
sure.
subbed because we were warned that the dub was pretty bad,
Mm,
and I really enjoyed just the subtitled version, so that would be
okay.
my recommendation if you go back to it.
Cool. I have, like, a list of I wanna watch the One Piece live action too because 'cause I've gotten pretty deep in the manga now, and I've heard the live action's actually amazing.
I mean, I that was my first experience with One Piece, and then I
Oh,
read
cool.
the manga to catch up with it. I've watched the full One Piece, TV show several times.
Wow,
Like,
okay.
I loved it. Like, I just my husband and I both loved it, like, eagerly awaiting every episode. It was really good.
That's awesome. I didn't realize you were such a big anime manga fan. I don't know why I missed
I
this.
mean, I wouldn't call myself, like, a big fan because I feel like I've missed a lot of the big ones, but, like,
Big
I'm
enough,
into
though.
Haikyuu. I read a lot of those because my son's obsessed with Haikyuu.
You are officially my favorite person on BookTube.
Oh, good.
Thank you for that.
No, my son is so I read some Haikyuu, and my son's a huge sports fan, and then he
Mhm.
blew me out of the water, and he's read all 45, like, I am not joking, 4 or 5 times. So
Wow.
I'm still on, like, issue 25, but I really love it. Like, it's
It's so
so
good.
good. It's
It's so
so
good.
good.
That was one, I would watch it. I would go take long walks, and I would, like, watch it on my phone as I'm walking, which is kinda
We
weird, but
haven't
it works.
watched it, um, because my brother-in-law said, like, the swearing is upped a ton in the anime version, and my son is pretty
Eh,
young. So
okay,
the
yeah.
swearing is, like, pretty mild in the manga. Um
I don't think there's that much, though. I could
According to
be
Common Sense
biased.
Media, it's, like, a lot worse. So I might need to, like, preview it
Yeah.
before I let
Yeah,
him watch
maybe.
it.
That was one that, like, I kid you not, almost every episode I was getting emotional for some reason.
Well,
Whether
that's
it's
because
sad, happy, hype, like, one of the
have you
emotions.
read the manga?
I have not.
Okay. I heard it's a pretty one-to-one adaptation. Like, I
Okay.
heard like, the episodes are almost like a direct lift
Mm,
other than I heard, like, the language, is a little more intense, but
interesting.
no, the manga's amazing. Like, I can't believe how invested I am in a sports story.
Yeah. Yeah, right? That's so funny. I love sports anime, like, Kuroko no Basuke was awesome. Um,
This is my first foray into sports anime, so
okay.
I have not watched or read any others.
If you like Haikyuu, you'll probably like Kuroko. It's, pretty similar.
Which sport is
Basketball,
it?
but
Oh, it's the
basketball,
basketball one.
but
I think
it's
that's the one
yeah.
that is advertised at the end of every Haikyuu manga is a
It
that
might be.
basketball one.
It might be. Um, somebody asked, sort of Steve. That's a great name, by the way. Yes, in fact, it was. Like every person who's into lifting weights, Dragon Ball Z was
Dragon Ball
definitely a
Z.
thing. Um, yeah, Bebop, Ghost in the Shell, those are awesome. The
I never watched them either.
adaptations are not so awesome, but the animes are great. Um, you haven't seen either of those.
No, that's what I said. Like, I'm not. That's why I don't like
Yeah.
advertise. Like, I
Sure.
did
Makes
really
sense.
like anime as a kid, and I do dabble in it still. Like, I really liked One Piece, and I read it more. I read more of the manga, but
Yeah.
um, I'm not like I just know so little about it that I'm not like, oh
Yeah.
yeah,
That's fair.
I feel like more of a casual. I'm just I'm a
A
casual. That's how I
casual
say.
who's
Like, I'm a casual. Like, I really enjoy it. But the hard thing with manga is it's just like such an expensive habit for someone who
yes.
doesn't like to read digitally.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of focusing on One Piece and Haikyuu. Um, and maybe I just need to get better at going to the library. But that is a factor for
Fair.
me. Like, it's expensive.
Yeah. I've tried to swallow that and just pay for the Viz membership to do. That's where I've
Mm.
been reading One Piece is just on that. And digital is not my favorite. I'm the same.
No, I
But
mean everyone says if you're going to read manga, the app is just like the way to do it.
oh, $3 a month is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, to read as much, but I'd also have to be committed, and I have a lot of other stuff to read. But we were lucky with Haikyuu. For Christmas, I scoured the internet for months, and I found someone selling their entire set.
Nice.
And so I got a deal on it, which is how we
That's
got to
cool.
own all of those. But with One Piece, I just buy them one at a time to trick
Mhm.
myself that I'm not spending a lot of money, and I just wait enough
Yeah.
time to forget how much it costs.
But you're caught up is you said you're caught up, right?
No, no, I caught up through the first season. So I read the first 12
Oh, I
issues,
understand. I'm
um,
I'm like,
and then I'm waiting.
you're a casual who's read 1,200 chapters of One Piece.
No, no.
Okay.
No, I
Right.
caught up to the so not 12 chapters, I'm sorry, first 12 volumes. So I read the first 12 volumes to
Okay.
get through the end of season 1, and I am
Sure.
doing this weird thing where I am waiting for the live action to be my first experience. So I'm waiting for season
Mm.
2, and then I'm gonna read, whatever, 13 through 30 or whatever
Yeah.
the second season covers.
Sure.
I might not stick with that if they're gonna keep taking, like, 2.5 years between seasons, but that's the goal.
That's cool. I like that. Sometimes some of my best reading experiences have actually been like that. Like,
Hmm,
I didn't read the Harry Potter books until after the 4th movie came out. So,
okay.
like, when I went back, it was so nice because I had the face and I had the voice, and, like, when I read, it's like a movie in my head when I'm reading, so, like, it
Mm,
was even cooler to have, like, the actual voice for the characters and stuff.
mhm.
Or the same thing with the Aragon movie back in the day. I had the same thing where after the movie came out, now I have all these
Okay,
things.
wait, wait, wait. You watched that movie first and thought, "That is a book I wanna read."
So, I was halfway through the book, okay? I was halfway through the
Oh,
book,
okay,
and then
okay,
the movie
okay.
came out. I will stand on this, though. When the movie came mind you, I was in 7th grade when the movie came out, but I did really like it when it came out. I
No,
don't know if I'd still like it now.
incorrect. I I was I was 16 when that movie came out, I'm pretty sure,
Okay.
and I had been a fan of the first book, and I went and saw that movie with my high school boyfriend who had never read the book, and he
Mhm.
was just like, "Why are you so upset?" And I was just like, "You just like you don't understand. This is just like the most horrible thing I've ever experienced in my entire life."
I gotta rewatch it. I gotta rewatch
Um,
it.
yeah, no, I prefer to usually read things first, but
Mhm.
I was never planning on reading One Piece, so I just thought like, "Whatever,
Yeah,
everyone's obsessed, like, I'll try this show," and then I loved it so much, I was like, "Okay, I gotta go
that's awesome.
see what it's all about."
Do you remember whose like, was it, like, somebody's content that you saw that made you be like, "Yeah, I gotta finally" like, what made you finally take the plunge?
Well, so at the end of every Haikyuu, there is a One Piece advertisement, and I
Oh,
had
cool.
heard of it 'cause it's, like, such a big
Mhm.
it's I mean, such a big fandom, like, I knew a little
Sure.
bit about it, but I just was like, "Whatever." It was actually, like, when the show came out, people were saying it was really good, and it was actually my husband he watches first of all, he watches just way more TV than me. I'm the worst. You cannot get me to sit down and watch TV. I have such a hard time with it. And so he watched an episode and then came to me and was like, "Okay, this is really good.
Mm,
I will rewatch." I think he watched 2 episodes. He was like, "I will rewatch it with you. You are gonna love this." So it was him who sat me down and said, like, "You will like it," because
cool.
and I trust it because he knows I just will never watch TV. So like, if he's saying like, "We should sit down and watch this," I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
I believe you."
That's awesome. Um, yeah, I guess I just sort of got peer pressured into it myself, I suppose. Not
Okay.
I mean, in the best way, right? Like, um, people knew that I was a anime manga fan, and growing up being the anime fan, everyone's like, "You're watching One Piece, right?" And I'm like, "No, dude. There's 1,000 episodes. I could watch literally 100 other shows."
Yeah,
in the same
yeah.
amount of time. So I was really resisting it, and I was like, "There's no way it's that good. There's no way. Like it's got to be overhyped, and it's not. Like, it's
Wait,
just
was this the anime you're talking about
the
or the live
well.
action?
I've only read the manga. I haven't
Oh,
watched
you've only
either
read the
the
manga. You
anime or the
haven't
live
watched the
action.
anime or the live action.
Correct. I do need to. The live action's on my list though. I'm similar. I don't watch a ton of TV, but yeah, it's on my list. So I
It's
was
like, look, I'm not
constantly
gonna watch 1,200 episodes of an anime,
yeah,
but I
no
will
way.
watch 8 episodes of live action. So
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Um, but yeah, I think I'm trying to remember. I think it was seeing Philip finally get like head over heels for One Piece
mm.
that I was like, okay,
Oh, so
you
the
know,
manga, your introduction to One Piece manga was recent.
yeah, it was. Man, when was it? It was sometime less than a year ago for sure. I've been
Oh,
kind of
okay.
slowly,
We were
slowly. I'll do like an arc at a
probably
time.
we were probably reading it at the same time then.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay,
because I
cool.
I finished the East Blue last year.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah.
East Blue
When was
arc.
that? I feel like that was maybe last summer when I started it, and it took me forever to get through East Blue because I was like, "This is what you guys are crazy about." It was so slow at the beginning.
I think it helped that I
Obviously,
had
it picks up.
seen the show
Sure.
because I knew where it was going, because it definitely is slower in the manga.
Hmm.
Because it's only 8 episodes and it covers the whole East
Right.
Blue.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I think it does a stunning job of
Okay.
fitting a lot in. Um, so you should
That's
definitely
cool.
watch it.
Yeah, I definitely should. Homie Sam is here. What's up? What is your favorite fantasy movie? Why is it Return
Yeah.
of the King? I mean that. So my take on this is Fellowship is actually my favorite of the three. I don't know why. I don't have a
Two
strong
Towers is
reason.
my favorite of the 3,
Two Towers
so
is great. Yeah. So joke's on you. That's the worst one, buddy.
Oh, I don't think it's the worst one. Return of the King is fantastic, but Two
So
Towers is
you
my
think
favorite.
Fellowship's the worst?
I mean, I don't know. They're all like, it's one of those things. Like, how can you really say any one of them is the worst? I think like the one I prefer changes honestly,
Mm,
depending on where I am. But right now, I'm
yeah,
having a Two Towers moment. Um,
understandable.
obviously, one of the Star Wars. Trying to decide. I mean, as a kid, Return of the Jedi was always my favorite.
Mm,
Um, but I have to admit, like now as an adult, when we're watching Empire Strikes Back, I'm like, Empire Strikes Back is a pretty fire
it's pretty
movie.
good.
Maybe they were right that Empire Strikes
It's
Back
pretty
is the
good.
best one. Like, because we
Yeah,
just showed our kids Star Wars, and I was like,
cool.
Empire Strikes Back is really good. So those are probably
Yeah.
two of my favorite fantasy movies. The Princess Bride.
I've never seen
Uh,
that actually.
what?
I know.
I think we're
Sorry.
similar in age, and you never saw that?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, I
like the
don't know.
hallmark of my childhood.
Yeah. I
I
was too
watched that a
busy
million
watching
times.
cartoons. Yeah.
Oh, I watched that a
Yeah.
million times as a kid. Well, you should
That's
watch
cool.
it. That movie is that we showed that to our kids too, and I was like, "This movie is the best." Like, I hadn't seen it in a few years, and I was like, "This literally is such a good movie." Uh,
That's awesome.
so yeah, that one's
Yeah.
definitely up there. I don't know.
I'm
Such a
trying to
big
think.
question.
It is. I've never been like the biggest movie guy either.
Me neither. Me
Um,
neither.
you know what's really funny is talking about sci-fi and Nev's book channel mentioned favorite sci-fi movie too. What comes to mind immediately, not because it's the best sci-fi movie, but just I really loved it growing up, is Galaxy Quest. I don't know if anyone's seen
Okay.
this
That's
movie.
not really it's kinda making fun of sci-fi, but Galaxy
Yeah,
Quest is the movie of the moment. My family was obsessed with that. We quote that all the time, like, literally
so
all the
good.
time. I was gonna say
It's
Star Trek. I was a big Trekkie as a kid.
mm,
My dad and I watched, Next Gen, all the time, so that's
okay,
also why
cool.
Galaxy Quest,
Yeah,
was one of our favorite movies. We saw it so many times. So yes, Galaxy Quest, Star Trek, which isn't a movie, it's a TV show, but that
sure.
definitely defined
Yeah.
my childhood.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like I kind of missed the boat on some of those, like the older TV shows, the Star Trek stuff, the Doctor Who, the all those kinds of things. I just kind of missed the boat on. But in
Mhm.
hindsight, I'm like, I would have loved that. I don't know why it wasn't really a thing. But
Yeah, I'm like wondering if my kids will enjoy Galaxy Quest without the back of Star Trek. But I guess if you liked
mm,
Galaxy Quest and you never watched Star Trek, then
yeah,
it must it must
so
work
funny.
out.
Yeah,
But
still
as someone who
funny.
watched a lot of Star Trek, Galaxy Quest was just so funny.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there was a lot of like when I got older and I figured out what it was
Yeah,
doing, it's
yeah,
even better, right? But it was still good even without it.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, The
scared.
Matrix.
Yeah,
The first
Matrix is a
Matrix
good
is a fantastic movie for
classic.
sure.
It's a classic. Somebody mentioned the Dune movie. Have you seen the Dune movies?
Mhm. Well, I saw Dune 1. I didn't have time to see Dune 2 in the theater, and now we're gonna watch it with
Mm,
friends. Zach went and saw, so it was really good. But
nice.
I enjoyed those 2 a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Um, I'm sure there's other ones I'm just forgetting. I don't know. I'm trying to think like, it depends what you mean by, like, fantasy. Like, it's probably adventure. I was a huge Indiana Jones kid.
Mhm, mhm.
Huge or other 90s classics like The Mummy. The
Sure.
Mummy is a fantastic movie.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking of like all the lists we have to show our kids in the future. Like
Cool.
we have like this list of things like once they get old enough, um, what are we going to show them?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Definitely those. But
Mm,
yeah, I mean, Star Wars and Lord of the Rings are certainly the fantasy movies I've seen the
they're
most.
the
Like those are kind
classics
of
for sure.
comfort fantasy movies for me.
Yeah. How
And
do you
Princess
feel
Bride.
about how do you feel about the prequels and sequel movie? I mean, everyone there's a universal feeling on the sequel movies, I suppose, but how do you feel about the prequels?
Well, I two things on this. First of all, I'm a prequel apologist. Um,
Okay. I like
I
it.
was 10 when The Phantom Menace came out, and I've
Mhm.
told this story online before because it's like a famous family story, but I made my dad take me to see The Phantom Menace 7 times in theaters. I saw it 7 times in theaters. Do you realize, like, how many times that is to see a movie? He just said he
That's a
slept through
lot.
it
Yeah.
by the 7th one. Like, he just slept through the whole thing. So, I've always really liked the prequels. I wasn't a huge, Revenge of the Sith fan. I thought that one was the weakest, but now
Really? Okay.
it's had a real upright like, I need to watch that one again. It's been a while
Mhm.
since I've watched Revenge of the Sith. I've watched Phantom Menace so much is the one I remember the most.
Yeah.
Um, but I will say, like, the sequels are interesting because when The Force Awakens came out, actually, I feel like the net reaction was very positive,
Mhm. I
and I
loved
was
it.
one of the few people who, like, didn't really like it.
Okay.
And so much to the point, like, I just wouldn't tell people because I was just like, "Everyone loves this, and I don't really."
Sure.
And I didn't hate it by any means. In fact, I loved the characters. Like, I was like, "Oh, what a great idea." Like, I loved Finn, I loved Rey, I loved all the character ideas. What really bothered me is that it literally just copied every plot point,
Yeah.
from A New Hope, and it's just or from the original series. And it was just like, I can't believe you're having just, like, a slightly bigger Death Star, and you're having just, like, a different parent reveal.
Yeah.
Um, that bothered me, and to me said that
Fair.
they didn't
Fair.
really have a story plan for the sequels. And then my opinion aged so well
Mhm.
because then we got the mess. No one
Yeah.
wants to see I just this happens a lot. No one wants to see their heroes like to take away their arc. So
Yeah.
with Luke Skywalker, like they took away his entire arc. And that's
Mhm.
no one wants that, which is why
Right.
you really shouldn't maybe even really bring the old characters in unless you were going to do an actual sequel and kind of
Sure.
follow some of the EU novels about what they did after the toppling of the empire. I'm a huge Star Wars fan if you couldn't tell. So
Yeah.
you really opened a can of worms.
I love it. I love it. I'm, I wouldn't say I'm, like, the biggest Star Wars fan, but I'm definitely a fan. I also grew up on this on I love the prequels. I've
Yeah,
seen them a million times, especially Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith. The Clone Wars is the one that always kinda got lost
it's
in the
fun.
shuffle for
I
me.
think I'm probably like what a few years older than you,
I think I was
it
born in
seems.
'93. Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. So I'm just a couple years older. Um,
Yeah. But yeah, I love the I actually I don't know if this is a hot take. I personally just purely on not preference, enjoyment as I'm watching them, I enjoy the prequels more than the original
That is crazy,
trilogy.
but I respect it.
Yeah.
I don't
People are
agree,
gonna
but I
don't like
respect
that.
it.
Fair.
I mean,
I'll take
I
it.
do really like the prequels, but I could watch the original 3 Star Wars, like, every time we showed our son first because my kids are 4 years apart, which is quite a
Mhm.
big age gap, so we showed him first, and we just showed my daughter, she got old enough, and, like, every time I watch Star Wars, I'm like, "This movie is so good." Like, I don't understand how I've seen it 20 times, and it's like, A New Hope is so good. They're just, like,
Yeah.
not making it like that anymore. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I should go back. It's been a long time since I saw the original one, so I should go back. But all the like, I watched, maybe half of the Clone Wars animated show. I was like, this is great, and then I fell off and forgot about it for some weird
Have you
reason.
seen Andor?
No, I haven't seen like any of the Disney Plus stuff.
You should not watch any Disney Plus stuff except Andor.
Okay.
Andor is
Okay.
incredible. And yes, someone said it here. Nev's book channel. Am I hyped for Andor season 2? Absolutely. It's coming out in like 2 weeks, and I
Oh, cool.
am hyped for
That's
season
awesome.
2.
Yeah. Rogue One is still one of my favorite Star Wars things. I loved Rogue
If
One.
Rogue One's one of your favorite Star Wars things, why
It is.
haven't you watched Andor?
I don't want to spend the money on Disney Plus.
Okay, that is super fair.
Yeah.
What you should do is just buy it for a month and just after season 2 and then just binge it all.
Fair.
Wait till season 2
Honestly,
is done
yeah.
and then binge it.
That's I have like a list of shows I want to do that, like the new like X-Men 97 I want to do that with. I need to do that with HBO for House of the Dragon. I've never seen that. Like there's like stuff.
Well, don't watch House of the Dragon. Read Fire and Blood first.
Yes, that's true. I do need to read that first. Thank you for your guidance here. This is helpful. People are talking about have you read any of the Star Wars books? People are talking about these in the
So
comments.
I've mostly read the kids' Star Wars books because
Okay.
I was super
Yeah.
into it. So I read, in fact, I feel like nobody's ever read them. I read all of Jedi Apprentice, which I still have up there. It's out of print. So it clearly wasn't very popular, but I own all 15 of the Young Jedi Apprentice, if anyone in here has read those, which is about Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan before Phantom Menace. I mean, they're little kid books. Like I read them in like 4th and 5th and 6th grade.
I had a couple of these for sure.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah,
I still own them all. My son's reading them right now.
Awesome.
And then I also read Young Jedi. What was it called? It focuses on Han and Leia's twins. Who's going to tell me what that series is?
Yeah, somebody will know.
Jedi.
Is it New Jedi Order?
No, not New Jedi Order. Jedi.
I have a whole list of them somewhere.
Is it just Young Jedis? I don't know. I read a bunch of those. I don't know if I ever finished the series, but I read a ton of those. I really loved those. And then I read
Legacy of the Force?
I gotta look up here. I read some like standalones, like there was a Leia book I read, but what is the famous one? Oh, Heir of the Empire. It's part of a trilogy, the the Thrawn trilogy, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
So I read the first book and I haven't finished that, but I want to. So, yeah, I am interested in getting better known in the adult EU stuff. I just kind of haven't had time to dig in, but I have read like some of the standalones here and there. But,
yeah, that's cool. I'm slowly making my way through. I started the way my brain wants to do it is all the way back in the timeline and read every single one. That's what my brain wants to do.
Okay.
But I just don't think I can do it. There's so many of them.
There's so many. That's why I did like the Thrawn trilogy, because like that's a really famous one. And I've read some of the standalones on characters I really like. And I also read like at the time I read the novelizations of the prequels. I don't know if you've done that. Those are pretty good.
On the list. I've kind of slowly curated a list of like the greatest hits ones. Like I watched a bunch of people's videos and the ones that they like the most. And I'm like, okay, you read all the ones, so I can cut the list down.
Curate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I read the Legends of Luke Skywalker, which is only because it was a Ken Liu book, and I'm a huge fan of Ken Liu. That's also out of print. It didn't sell well, but I will say I really enjoyed it. So if you manage to grab a copy, I do highly recommend it.
We'll see if we can find it. Jeremy shouting out Darth Bane. I'm 2 books. I finished book 2 of the Darth Bane trilogy. It is awesome. It's really good. I'm really digging the Old Republic stuff.
I might try that one. I will say the Thrawn book wasn't my favorite. It was just fine. And I don't know if it's because I am forgetting that a lot of the Star Wars books are very like pulp fiction. And I just like wasn't in the right mindset for it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's George Martin didn't write them, right? So
yeah. Like it's just like a mind shift.
Yeah. Yeah, they're so fun though. It's if you go in with that mindset of like, yeah, it's just going to be really fun. It's great. I've loved every one I've done so far. Yeah.
So Samwise, weirdly, Revenge of the Sith is the only one I didn't read. I read the first 2, and I've heard Revenge of the Sith is amazing. So it's actually like I want to try to get to it this year because I did love the Phantom Menace and Clone Wars books. Because very famous authors wrote them. It's like crazy, actually. I'm looking at it right now. Like R.A. Salvatore wrote The Phantom Menace, and Terry Brooks wrote the Clone Wars. Like they
Didn't
got like very famous
uh,
ones.
who's the Kevin J. Anderson wrote one too, didn't he? Somewhere?
I'm sure somewhere along
I
the
don't remember.
but yeah, they got like big names. So anyway, I've heard
Mhm.
Revenge of the Sith from several people is very good.
Yeah. Janie was mentioning Star Trek novels. Did you ever go down that rabbit hole?
No, that would have been my sister. My sister's read a million Star Trek novels, but I never got into the novelization. I'm
Yeah.
only a new gen watcher.
Ah,
Sorry,
yes.
next gen.
I've seen some. I don't know what series it was, but I saw some of it. And then I also saw one of the newer movies that they did, and I was like,
Did you see like the new movies with Chris Pine?
yeah.
Yeah, I watched a few of those. Those are really fun and entertaining. I really enjoyed those. You'll know what you watched. It just depends on who your captain was. Were you Captain Kirk
Oh.
or Captain Picard?
Oh man. Um, I'm trying to
Come
remember.
on,
I
Jake.
I feel, I feel like it was
Wa-
Kirk. Um,
was Data in it? Or
I think he might have been.
if it was Data, then you watched Captain Picard.
Okay. Because I'm trying. That's what it is. Because I don't remember seeing either captain. I just remember seeing some of the other characters. Um, and I'm also trying to make sure I'm having it straight with. There was a Big Bang Theory episode where they cosplayed as Star Trek characters, and I'm trying to make sure I'm not thinking of that. Um,
I would
so,
not have admitted that online, but I'll forgive you, Jake.
oh come on, are you a hater?
Um, oh, I mean, I'm not like an official hater. I just watched one episode and thought I'm never going to watch this show again. But
Oh, that hurts. That hurts. It was fun. It's not the best show ever, but it's fun.
yeah, I get why people liked it. I think some of the humor would be grating for me personally.
I could see that. Yeah. I
Yeah,
could
like I think the
see that.
nerd humor would be fun, but I think
Yeah.
I'll put it this way, its treatment of men versus women, I think would not be something
Mm,
that would I could look over
fair.
in the show.
Very fair. I totally get that. Yeah, the very niche nerd jokes were like some of them are obviously more mainstream nerdy jokes or whatever, but
Yeah.
they'll slip in some stuff that I'm like, or there's a random string theory joke. I'm like, whoa, okay, this is kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm more of a community fan if it
Yeah,
comes to funny TV shows.
fair, fair. I haven't seen that one. It comes back to not watching much TV, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
The
just
only
I just
thing,
pick the same 3 TV shows and watch them over and over again. So like my podcast, I've watched Community from start to finish like
uh-huh.
4 times, but you couldn't get me to watch a new TV show.
That's funny. That's kind of what I'm doing now. I finally convinced my girlfriend to watch Dexter with me. She's never
Oh,
seen it.
okay.
It's one of my favorite things ever.
I've seen the
Like I
first season.
you got it. The first season is fine. 2 through 4 are peak, and then the rest is
I
fine.
thought it was a very good show. It was too intense for me. So I'm a very
I
big
could see that.
baby and like the last episode of season 1. Well, maybe it was season 2. Maybe I watched 2 seasons. I don't know. How can I vaguely say this? There's a scene with 2 kids in a shipping container. If I say that, will you know what I'm
Mm,
talking about?
yes, I do. I do know what you're
Literally like
talking
had
about.
nightmares about it for weeks because I'm
Mm,
very difficult for me to watch child harm. And so whichever season that was like I'm out, not because
yeah,
it's a bad TV show, but because I personally
sure.
cannot
Yeah,
handle that level of violence.
that's totally fair. Yeah, I probably wouldn't watch the rest of it then. Um,
Yeah, no, I'm sure it just got worse.
yeah, but I think I've seen it. I've seen it all the way through 2 or 3 times. I've seen the first 4 seasons another couple times. Like I loved it. So that's been fun to revisit. But I also like live close to Miami now, which is where the show takes place.
Oh yeah,
So it's been fun to like. I was like, oh, I've been there. This is weird.
seen the
So
spots.
yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, divisive on later seasons. That's very true.
I've definitely
um,
heard that.
yeah, I'm in the minority that thought the ending was satisfying.
Mm.
So I don't know. A lot of people hated it. Um, one thing I want to. This is kind of a tangent, not a tangent, left turn. Tangent's too soft of a word. I want to make sure that I touch on this because I mentioned at the start of this that I'm so impressed by some of your videos. Right, your level of Cosmere knowledge is like I'm way down here, right? And I'm like, how did you do this? How
I
do we
mean, I
get here?
started became a Sanderson fan in like 2012.
Okay, so you
So
got
think
10
of
years on
how
me.
much fewer books there were out like back then.
Hmm.
So it was easier to reread them. Like I wasn't online. So I reread books way more frequently than I do now because I wasn't
Sure.
like creating content. and I have a pretty good memory. That's
Fair
kind of
enough.
the combo. But I do think like people getting into Sanderson now, like I just think it's a lot harder
Mm.
because there's so much information you're trying to learn all at once where it's like over a period of 13 years, I have slowly
Yeah.
collected the knowledge and it just keeps building rather than like a fire hose
Mm.
um all
That
at
makes sense.
once.
That makes sense.
So
There's just so much. I remember when I finished Wind and Truth, I went down like a copper mine rabbit hole, and I was like, did I read these same books? Like, there's stuff in here that I don't. It's like I went through no spoilers, but like some of the unmade stuff that is in the wiki, and I'm like, where was this? I totally missed apparently a lot of this stuff because I remember thinking that there was. I was like, I don't understand why the unmade are such a big deal, but I think I
oh
just missed some of the references in the earlier books. But
yeah, I think like I do fact check myself. I think what I've become good at is like I'm very good at recognizing like
mm,
where the stuff is. So like, sometimes like I'll know exactly what it is. But
sure,
sometimes when I'm taking notes while reading, it's like, oh, I know that this is a thing. I just can't remember what that was from. And then I
mm,
just go check myself. So
yeah,
it's not just like it's all just like at the top. It's just like I know enough to recognize all of it and then I can go fact check myself. It was kind of like
makes
my
sense.
Wheel of Time episodes. It wasn't like I immediately knew every single thing while I was watching the TV show. It's just like I've read them enough and love them enough to know enough, and then I could be like, "Oh, let me fact check that. I don't think that's how it happened in the book," and then I can just go
Yeah,
fact check myself.
yeah, that makes because I remember watching those. I was like, how do you remember this? So like, I read the books too. I don't remember like I could remember like, oh, I don't think that's exactly how it happened, whatever. But I wouldn't know exactly where to go look for it in the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of like getting close. I'm like, I
Mm,
know generally where this happened, and going and rereading it, or just using a fan wiki, being like, okay, I know this happened
mm,
in The
yeah,
Great Hunt, and I know it was around the mid book and dealt with this character. I'm sure I can kind of like find the chapter I need to go remind myself of what it is.
that makes sense. Are you still watching the show? I'm hearing season 3 is actually really good now.
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying season 3. I'm not doing my book to show
Sure.
comparisons because they were a lot of work,
Yeah.
and then I just got yelled at
Sure.
by everybody. So I was like, you know what? I'm just kind of done with that. But I am watching, and I'm going to probably do something at the end, and I'm enjoying it. It's a
Cool.
good season. Um, I think it's like a little late.
Mm,
Like I think I'm like, man, we're 3 seasons in, and you're just deciding to like really step it up.
yeah,
Um, that's a lot to I'm just saying that's a lot to ask of the viewer.
it
To be
is.
like, just make it to season 3 and then
Yeah.
it's great. It's like with a fantasy show, you kind of need to like, I don't know. Comedy shows can do that because they're short. They're 20-minute episodes. I don't
Mhm.
know if you've ever seen Parks and Rec,
Yeah, I love it.
but like the first season of Parks and Rec is pretty rough.
It is.
But it's like 6 episodes at 20 minutes. So asking
Mm,
someone to get through season 1 of Parks and Rec is very
yeah.
different than being like, "Hey, can you watch 8 1 hour and 15-minute episodes?" No, I'm sorry, 16 1 hour and
Oh,
15-minute
yeah,
mid
full seasons.
episodes,
Right.
and then you'll get to some pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, "Ooh, we're a little late." But I am enjoying it. I'm
Good.
enjoying it.
They're on to, like, book 4 stuff, right?
Yeah, in fact, they pretty much skipped most of book 3.
That's what I heard, which made me very sad because there's some really cool stuff in book 3 that I
Book
was
3 is
hoping to
great.
see.
I From what they're doing, I think they will be going back to book 3. I think they're just doing it out of order. Um, and honestly, the way it's been set up in the show, I quite like. So I think if you had told me they were doing that, I'd been like, no. But
Mhm.
if you watch the season, it's actually like, oh, um, it's working. It's working now. So it'll be how they deliver on it. But
Yeah.
um, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Are you, excited for the leather bounds that Dragonsteel is doing
Oh, I'm not
for
gonna
real
buy them.
time? You're
So
not?
no,
Okay, good for
no.
you. Good
Um,
self-control. I'm gonna do it. I'm a sucker.
uh, it's just like 14 years is a long time to ask me to collect a book series, and, that's if you actually deliver on a once a year promise.
True.
Um, They're also very similar looking to the Sanderson leather bounds,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. Like I think the Sanderson leather bounds are beautiful, but I don't necessarily need like a whole shelf.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why. My camera just turned off. Give me a second.
You're good. No worries.
It must not be plugged in all the way or something.
Technology.
I'm back.
Oop, we got a flash of
No, it's
image.
saying the battery's exhausted, but it's plugged in.
Oh, interesting.
So let's solve that. Issue. I'm sorry, I've never had this happen
No, no
before.
worries. You're fine. I'm just scrolling back through the chat to see if I missed anything big. Steve's asking if Mistborn Era 2 is recommendable. I think so. I enjoyed it. I liked Era 1 better personally, but I thought it was still really fun.
I think my that outlet is bunk.
Ah.
So it was plugged in, but the outlet is gone. I think we're good.
Yeah,
one of my lights might just go out now, and that's fine. It just will be a crazy one. I agreed with what you said, though. Prefer Mistborn Era 1 to Era 2.
Yeah. The Alloy of Law was really difficult for me, but then the last 3 I actually liked a lot.
Alloy of Law was fine for me, but when I read Alloy of Law, like there were just barely any Cosmere books out. So even though like I didn't love it,
sure.
it was like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think I had read Mistborn, Elantris, Warbreaker, and the first 2 Stormlight books.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alloy of Law was the last thing that was out at the time.
That makes
so
sense.
like that was the last thing I read. So that, it wasn't very much.
Yeah.
That was
That's
out at
so
the time.
wild. I think Rhythm of War was out well before I jumped in. I didn't start reading it until like 2022 or something.
Yeah, that's so stressful. People getting into the Cosmere now is so crazy to me. And I always am like, I think it's hard because I think especially content creators, they just feel the need to like know it all and read it all. And I'm like, but don't burn yourself out.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like
there's a lot. Yeah. And it's
take
all like
take a breath.
the different series are different for sure, but there's a very similar tone, just his writing style. So like I broke it up with a lot of other stuff. I was reading other series between them, and the only thing I regret is the last Cosmere book that I read before Wind and Truth, obviously, because the last one that got me caught up was Warbreaker, which is an odd choice because I missed so many references through the other books that it just went over. There's some Stormlight stuff, right, that people would talk about.
Did it hurt your experience with Stormlight though?
I mean, no, but
exactly.
when I read Wind and Truth, I was like, I saw some of the things. I was like, oh, this is so fun seeing the,
you just saw it the other way. So you just read Warbreaker and you're like, oh, here's a backstory to all the people that I knew from Stormlight.
But they weren't named in Stormlight yet, though. They had their Roshar names.
Right. But so you still remember them.
Yeah, true. But I didn't read Warbreaker and be like, oh, this is so and so.
Yeah, but in fairness, like a lot of times when you come out, you didn't know that. Like when I read Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, I had read Warbreaker first, and I didn't know who Zahil was because I didn't know how to recognize that stuff, and like I just didn't know who it was, and I technically could have, and it wasn't until later when I got online I was like, oh, I didn't know there were that many world hoppers. Like I didn't really even know that much about the Cosmere when I read his books. So I'm always just like, I just don't think it matters. It's fun once you find out, but I mean, I read them and didn't know who Zahil was either, technically.
Yeah. I think to me, the most disappointing one for me in hindsight was, I don't know if I'm spoiler sensitive, so I'm going to talk around it, but like there's somebody in Oathbringer that everybody freaked out about when they saw this person, and it just went so over my head, and I feel like I missed out on a fun thing.
In Oathbringer?
Yeah. A female character.
Oh. Yeah, I guess like I just don't know why people were so excited about that. Like it was fine. Who loves that female character? Like when people read the book, no one loves that person. So
that's like, a very fair point. Yeah.
It's like I guess it's kind of exciting, but I just don't think she does enough.
That's
for
true.
it to like really matter. But I'm the opposite. I'm just like I'm the big proponent of being like it's just the Cosmere connections aren't that big of a deal to enjoy the story.
Right.
because
Agreed.
I think people get overboard on it.
Yeah. Did we ever figure out what happened with her, by the way, after Oathbringer?
No, I think it was a
I didn't
big
think so either.
missing point in
Yeah.
Wind and Truth. Like
Yeah.
what
Hmm.
happened there? The
Interesting. Okay.
Warbreaker sequel.
Yeah, someday, huh?
I mean, actually, legitimately, I asked him about the Warbreaker sequel once.
Okay.
um, I mean, this was way back when we went to his signings in San Francisco, and like nobody was there. I mean, people were there, but like you
Wild.
just walked in and you just signed books. Like I can't even imagine like doing
No.
that now.
Yeah.
Um, and this was, I think this must have been the Shadows of Self release in San
Mm.
Francisco. And I asked him, I was like, hey, Warbreaker's my favorite book. When's the sequel? And he said, don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
But he's written online that it would be about that character.
Mm.
So
Cool. I like it.
yeah.
Hopefully someday, man.
Well,
He's
I
got a lot of
mean,
other stuff planned here.
he's got it planned, so it will happen. Just going to be a while.
Yeah. Is that like in ink though, or is that just one of his penciled in ones?
That one's in ink. I think that one's a really
Okay.
important one to
Mm.
late stage Cosmere stuff.
Okay.
So
Cool.
I'm pretty positive that one is for sure going to happen.
Cool. Okay. I mean, I hope so. It was great. I feel like I think I'll enjoy Warbreaker more on a reread. When I read it, I think
Mm.
I was kind of getting a little bit like, okay, I've read
Fatigued.
50, I've read 52 Sanderson books this year. We
Yeah.
probably, um, by the way, Chance is here, and I would be remiss to not mention that we were talking about D&D earlier.
Mm.
Big D&D guy. So I actually I would love to ask you about this. What is your go-to if you're playing? What kind of character, what kind of play style do you like to do? What's fun for you?
Well, I usually try to always play a new class every time I've made a character.
Nice. Yeah.
So I that's a hard question to answer because I'm always wanting to like
True. Yeah. I
I
get it.
always want to switch it up.
Uh-huh.
I would say in general, people would say I'm attracted to wizard types though. Like I
Mm.
usually like to be a magic user with a lot in my arsenal because I tend to like to be a very creative player.
Mm.
I like to use a spell in a way that maybe it wasn't straightforwardly intended to be used. Like I like the role playing aspect. I'd rather have a lot of stuff to do outside of fighting.
Yeah.
So things like, druids and stuff that give me a lot of opportunity to be different. Although I think a lot of it just comes down to the character you make because I was a paladin, which was pretty boring, but the character design ended up being so funny that it was my favorite character I ever played
I
just
relate
because
to
of
this a lot. Yeah.
the role playing aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I've man, what have I think I've generally gone a similar route with like just wanting magic's just cool. Like
It is.
sorry, right? Um so I had one where I was like just a super OP warlock. That was fun. That I made him super like emo and brooding and whatever,
Mm,
which was funny, whatever. Me and Chance played a game. We did like a live stream with a bunch of other booktubers doing a D&D game. And the character I played in that one was super fun. It was just like the he's a sorcerer who like is actually really weak, but he puts on a front like he's powerful and
mm.
like Dark Lord. And like role playing that dynamic was pretty fun. But yeah, I agree. Like the combat is super cool, but the other stuff is like
The fun.
the combat gets repetitive after a minute.
Unless you change it up. I am not a min maxer. I will sacrifice power all the time for my story. Like that is like I
Mm,
am way more concerned about like what story am I trying to tell with my character.
yeah.
But yeah, the character I had the most fun playing, who's the paladin. I had this whole idea. I was going to play a typical paladin. I was like, I can't wait to be the paladin that's like, super honorable. Kind of wait, have you read Wheel of Time? Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like think Galad, like
Yeah.
truthful to a fault, and everyone's going to be annoyed, and that's what I'm thinking I'm going to play. And then
Mhm.
I rolled my stats, and it is the worst rolled stats I have ever had in my entire life. I had like
Perfect.
3 -1s and like a 10, and then I had one. I rolled an 18. So I had all of it was into strength because I was a paladin, and then
Sure.
everything else was just terrible. I was an idiot. And then I
Wow.
think I had like a 12 on constitution. So I was like, and it was just terrible. So I was like, I can't, like, who am I going to play? And so I decided to just play it as written. And I was as dumb as rocks. I was strong and just as dumb as rocks, and I played a drunk paladin who was just like,
Nice.
and my DM made me like roll constitution rolls all the time, so I would just be drunk and like to make sure I could do stuff. And for sure my favorite character I've ever played, and I let chance kind of dictate who I let the character sheet dictate who I was, and that ended up being so much fun. So like even though I was weak in a lot of areas, it ended up like leading to so many fun moments for like the DM and me
Yeah,
that people got really into it.
that's cool.
And so I'm always like, you know what, min-maxing doesn't really matter. It's what you do with what you have.
Exactly, exactly. I love that. Yeah. Chance say we got another game. You're always welcome to play with us if you ever want to play a game.
Well, we were putting together a D&D game a while ago with Library of Alexandria. He really wanted to DM it, but
Awesome.
he just never had time.
Yeah.
So that booktube D&D was an idea I had for a long time. It's just like one of those hard things to organize. So I'm
Dude, the
impressed that you guys got it organized.
scheduling is tough.
Yeah.
We made it happen though. Yeah, we did it in like Chance can correct me. What wasn't that back in like October or November or something? It was forever ago. We just did a one shot. I think we got it done in like 3 hours flat. And
That's
it was
impressive.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun. We gotta get another one going. But we're getting a pool of anyone who wants to play, and we'll just have rotating
Oh,
people
and
for one
rotating
shots
it,
or
that's
something.
fun.
Yeah. Because scheduling with the same people regularly is
You're
just
never gonna
it's so
happen.
hard. It's so hard. On that note, you said you guys DM'd and stuff, right? So like
Mhm.
anytime I talk to somebody who DMs, I think I would have a blast with that, but it's so overwhelming to me to learn how to do it. So do you have any tips or like how did you learn? How did you get into doing that?
I mean, you just do it. Like, I played
Okay.
D&D, so you play D&D, and then one day they're like, "You're the DM now," and you're like, "Okay."
Okay.
Um,
So
I
what
mean,
gets me, I don't like how do you know when you have somebody roll for something or like how do you choose when they do
yeah.
it? How do you know
I
like is it
I
wisdom or
learned
is
a
it
lot. I
intelligence
will
or
say
is it
this, your first campaign, you will learn a lot, and I will
Mhm.
say this, my best advice that I ended up wishing I had taken earlier, because I did a ton of research, like, on Reddit and, like, through my friends and all that stuff. Um, Remember, your success as a DM is if your players have fun.
Mhm.
So everything should be in service of them having fun. It is not the DM versus the players. So if you
Yeah.
ever start feeling like there's an encounter and you're worried they're winning, you need to like remove that mindset and be like, are they enjoying themselves?
Mm.
So be a yes man when you can. Like, I do think the rules matter because they give the world functionality. But if someone's trying to do something really cool, then let them to the point that they
Yeah.
can. And then if they get a terrible roll, then it's just as funny,
Sure.
but that was something that really helps. I think sometimes like when you're playing the big bad character at the end, you get caught up in wanting it to be like hard, wanting to make sure they have to work hard enough. But like if they're just dominating, that's fun.
Yeah.
So why am I, uh worried about that? So I think that was big
Yeah. Makes
for
sense.
me.
It's good advice.
And then like so my husband DM'd our first, and I remember because we had, kids, and I'd be like, why don't you prepare earlier? Like it would be right before our bi-monthly game. We played every other week. And I'd be like, what, like, can't you do this earlier? Like this is dinner time and we have it tonight while you're waiting. And then I became a DM and it was like, oh, you were preparing every day for 2 weeks. And then it's just like it's 2 hours before and you're like, I still have to prepare more. Like I had a whole notes app on my computer with like 12 tabs, like locations, people, and it's just like you can never prepare enough. And then you'll
Mm.
sit down and your character will be like, let's go to this one place you didn't prepare. And then you're just like, cool, okay, I just gotta like borrow seat of my pants, like and then use a book. Like we used a book and I never followed the book storyline, like, but having a book that gives you like characters and locations and ideas is really beneficial. And then you can
Okay.
kind of
Yeah.
organize it to your group's play style.
Mm. Makes sense. Yeah. Man, it just there's the the preparation time is also a thing for, like I just don't know if I have the time for it.
It's a
Um
lot of work. And
yeah.
you know what? When you're in a creative, like field or whatever. I don't know if it'd be the booktubing, but like when my husband started writing books, he said it was really hard to DM because he was trying to DM at the
Mm,
same time, and then we ended up stopping because he was like, all that it's so much creative energy.
sure, sure.
Like you are being a writer essentially when you're DMing.
Yeah, for sure. The guy who DM'd for us in the game that we did is a writer. I'm like, how do you do this, man? This is wild.
Yeah, I think it's really hard. If you're as a player, your job is to demoralize the DM. I am pretty good at demoralizing DMs, I will say. Demoralizing is the wrong word. Um, I want my DM to have fun, but I am very good at telling my DM I want to do things, and then the DM making this face. Okay. But that's half the fun. And then I'm just gonna say it, every DM lies. That's why we have a screen.
Mm,
So we can lie. But I've only ever lied in service of my players, not in service of me.
I like that. I'm
But
sure
I
that
have
works
lied.
great.
And
Yeah.
I would every DM has lied. I do not believe a DM if they say they haven't lied. Every DM has lied.
You're saying lying about like the dice?
I've lied about the dice. I've lied about numbers. I had like hit points written down, and then
Yeah.
like someone does something really cool, and you're like, wouldn't it be cool if the thing died right now? So
Mm.
it's at
Yeah,
0.
okay.
You know what I mean?
I like that. Yeah.
Or wow, they're getting through this enemy really quick, and they thought this was the big bad. I'm gonna like just like up the hit points a little bit.
Yeah.
This is going to permanently kill my character in a moment where I don't think permanently killing them would be the right move.
Mm.
So I'm just going to pretend that I rolled less damage. And like I have killed characters. It's not like I'm against killing player characters,
Sure.
but there's a time and a place.
Mm.
And so I'm just saying every DM has lied.
I'm
That's
sure
all
it's
I'm
true.
saying.
I'm sure it's true. I'm sure it's true. I'll dip my toe in eventually, I'm sure. I'm just gotta find the time.
I know. And the
Time ever
group
fleeting.
that will be
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah, the consistent group is tricky. But I have like I have my toe in 3 different thing. We had like the
Mm.
booktube thing we tried to do. I have one with some IRL friends and then one that I do online with my PhD advisor, which is
Oh,
really
okay.
fun.
Love that.
Yeah, it's awesome. But
Are you getting a PhD right now?
yeah,
In what?
exercise science actually.
Oh, cool.
We just got a paper pre-printed this morning, and I'm super stoked because it's a huge relief. So
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah, it felt good, man. It was
When
we've
do
been
you
working on that
defend?
forever. Probably. Uh, I actually just pushed it. I was gonna defend in December,
Oh,
but I
okay.
just pushed it back a little bit, essentially just to make my life a little bit easier, um, and buy some time getting a stipend for longer.
Yeah, yeah.
um, so, and my advisor was like, "Yeah, you can stay as long as you want, dude. I don't care." So
Yeah.
it worked out good. So I should graduate like a year from now, basically.
Okay.
So that probably means I'll defend in what, like March or something.
And are you defending a thesis or is it different for exercise science?
No, yeah, it's full. I'm doing my data collection is literally like uh, 2 years of data collection
Yeah.
before, there's a lot. Human
So
subjects
I don't have
research
a
is a lot.
PhD, but I did get a master's. So I have
Oh,
been
awesome.
in the
Yes,
realm. I know how that is.
yeah, you know how it goes. What did you do your master's in? Was it like tech stuff?
Geotechnical engineering.
Okay. Oh, geez. Yeah, you're smart. Okay.
Well, that
Um,
people always think that sounds so smart. You don't know. You weren't in
that's
it.
true. I guess that's fair. I guess that's fair.
It's all hard. Any master's and PhD is hard, but yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Have you cried to your advisor yet, or is that just a uniquely me
Um,
experience?
I have, but not because of the
Yes.
degree. If
Oh,
that
okay.
so it's yeah. But I
We
cry about everything.
all of
So
us joked like, if you haven't cried to your advisor, what are you really getting a master's degree? And I'm sure a PhD
that's
is
true.
worse. So
That's true. Yeah, I'm very grateful. My advisor is like the best person in the world. So it's who your advisor is can really make or break your
oh,
experience.
if you don't have an advisor in your corner, I just don't even know how you're making it. I was so lucky to have a great advisor too,
That's good. Yeah,
who just let me
that's
cry in
tough.
his office every once in a
Yeah.
while.
You need to. You gotta let off the steam. Yeah. I mean, like you can't
Oh,
sleep, so like you gotta get the stress out somehow, you
yes.
know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
um, well, my StreamYard limit is coming up pretty soon,
Yeah.
unfortunately. As much as I hate to end this, I think I do need to stop so I'm not cut off mid sentence at some point. Um, So thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. This has been a blast. I feel like I could talk to you forever.
Yeah,
This
thanks.
has
It
been
was so
great.
much fun.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone hanging out in the chat. This is great to see. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you for watching. Leave a comment, all the good stuff. I would say go subscribe to Bookborn, but you already are. If you're watching me, you definitely know who she is. So,
Not necessarily. Come subscribe to me.
there you go. Yeah, you're
I'll
welcome
deliver,
for
I
giving me a boost.
promise.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, thanks everybody. We will see you next time, I suppose. Thanks a lot.